One of the hard parts about being a dividend-focused YouTuber is trying to appeal to the many different kinds of dividend investors out there.
We're just so many people.
Well, in my attempt to do just that, welcome back to the Power 5 Stocks of the Week. In this series, each week I present you all with the top performers in the following categories: dividend yield, dividend streak, dividend growth rates, 10-year returns, and the stock trading the highest percentage off of its 52-week high. All of these stocks are going to have an ex-dividend date of next week, and the only requirements for consideration to be on this list is that you have to outperform the S&P 500 over the past 10 years and have a dividend streak of at least 5 years. If you're looking for a new take on a top 5 series you're not going to find anywhere else on YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe and tune in each week.
You heard the man.
Before we dive into this week's video, I wanted to show you how this week's list was broken down when my filters were applied. I began with 107 different dividend stocks that had ex-dividend dates between May 22nd and May 26th. Once I applied the filter of only looking for stocks that had a dividend streak of 5 or more years, that went down to 36 stocks. And lastly, I filtered for only stocks that have outperformed the S&P 500 over the past 10 years and was left with only 18 stocks, or 16.82% of the original list. From there, I let the numbers speak for themselves, and here are the leaders in each category. This week's stock with the highest dividend yield is Evercore, stock ticker EVR. EVR is a quarterly payer in the financial sector, paying $3.04 per share per year, with a forward dividend yield of 2.87%. EVR has been paying and growing their dividend over the last 17 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 7.48%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 14.25%, and a payout ratio of 24.38%. Evercore has an ex-dividend date of May 25th with a payout date of June 9th, and a $10,000 investment into Evercore 10 years ago while only reinvesting dividends since then would have turned into $32,890.32, which is a 12.64% year-over-year return rate. And here on the channel, we always compare that to the S&P 500 because if you're not going to beat the market with your individual stocks, you might as well just invest in the market. The S&P 500 in the same time frame turned into $30,299.90, which results in a difference of $2,590.42 on the side of Evercore. This week's stock with the longest dividend streak is Nordson, stock ticker NDSN. Nordson is a quarterly payer in the industrial sector, paying $2.60 per share per year, with a forward dividend yield of 1.2%. Nordson's been paying and growing their dividend over the last 60 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 18.2%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 16.03%, and a payout ratio of just 24.92%. NDSN has an ex-dividend date of May 22nd with a payout date of June 6th, and 10K into Nordson 10 years ago while only reinvesting dividends since then would have turned into $33,036.65, which is a 12.69% year-over-year return rate, and that's once again compared to the S&P that turned into that same $30,299.90, which is a difference of $2,736.75 over the past decade. This week's stock with the best dividend growth rates is Tractor Supply Company, stock ticker TSCO. TSCO is a quarterly payer in the consumer discretionary sector, paying $4.12 per share per year, with a forward dividend yield of 1.72%. TSCO has been paying and growing their dividend over the last 14 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 39.38%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 28.55%, and a payout ratio of 35.6%. Tractor Supply has an ex-dividend date of May 26th with a payout date of June 13th, and a $10,000 investment into Tractor Supply 10 years ago while only reinvesting dividends since then would have turned into $47,801.95, which is a 16.93% year-over-year return rate. Once again, compared to the S&P that turned into that $30,299.90, which is a $17,502.05 difference on the side of Tractor Supply. We just reached the halfway point of this video, and if you're enjoying this fresh take on a top 5 series, please hit the like button on the video as it shows me I'm doing something right and helps get my content to others on YouTube. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed with the bell rung so you don't miss any of my future dividend related content. Lastly, I'm open to suggestions. If there's any dividend related content you guys want to see, use the comment section down below to let me know what that is. But now let's get to these final 2 stocks. This week's stock with the best 10-year returns is CDW, stock ticker CDW. CDW is a quarterly payer in the technology sector, paying $2.36 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 1.39%. CDW has been paying and growing their dividend over the past 10 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 17.33%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 24.13%, and a payout ratio of 22.65%. CDW has an ex-dividend date of May 24th with a payout date of June 13th. And if you would have invested $10,000 into CDW a little bit under 10 years ago while only reinvesting dividends since then, that would have turned into $102,238.83, which is a 26.53% year-over-year return rate, whereas the S&P 500 in the same time frame turned into $30,610.05, which means you would have been $71,628.78 better off investing into CDW. This week's stock that's trading the highest percentage off of their 52-week high is Assurant, stock ticker AIZ. Assurant is a quarterly payer in the financial sector, paying $2.80 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 2.16%. Assurant's been paying and growing their dividend over the last 19 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 3.92%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 4.84%, and a payout ratio of 20.41%. At the time of recording, Assurant was trading 31.1% off of their 52-week high. Assurant has an ex-dividend date of May 26th with a payout date of June 20th, and $10,000 into AIZ 10 years ago while only reinvesting dividends since then would have turned into $32,890.32, which is a 12.64% year-over-year return rate. Again, compared to the S&P that turned into that same $30,299.90, which is a difference of $2,590.42 over the past decade. As mentioned in the video, each of these stocks has beaten the market over the past 10 years. Each of these stocks have a dividend streak of at least 10 years, and all of them go ex-dividend next week if you choose to make the purchase. Let me know down in the comments if any of these stocks piqued your interest and what it was about that stock that got you excited. And this past Monday, I released a video on the 10 rules to dividend investing that's a very interesting watch. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you guys check it out right here. But until next time, see you.